Daily Words of God. Today, God judges you, chastises you, and condemns you. But you must know that the point of your condemnation is for you to know yourself. He condemns, curses, judges, and chastises, so that you might know yourself, so that your disposition might change, and, moreover, so that you might know your worth, and see that all of God's actions are righteous, and in accordance with His disposition and the requirements of His work, that He works in accordance with His plan for man's salvation, and that He is the righteous God who loves, saves, judges, and chastises man. If you only know that you are of lowly status, that you are corrupt and disobedient, but do not know that God wishes to make plain His salvation through the judgment and chastisement that He does in you today, then you have no way of gaining experience, much less are you capable of continuing forward. God has not come to kill or destroy, but to judge, curse, chastise, and save. Until His 6,000-year management plan comes to a close, before He reveals the outcome of each category of man, God's work on earth will be for the sake of salvation. Its purpose is purely to make those who love Him complete, thoroughly so, and to bring them into submission under His dominion. No matter how God saves people, it is all done by making them break away from their old satanic nature. That is, He saves them by having them seek life. If they do not do so, then they will have no way to accept God's salvation. Salvation is the work of God Himself, and the seeking for life is something that man must take on in order to accept salvation. In the eyes of man, salvation is the love of God, and the love of God cannot be chastisement, judgment, and curses. Salvation must contain love, compassion, and moreover, words of solace, as well as boundless blessings bestowed by God. People believe that when God saves man, He does so by moving them with His blessings and grace, so that they can give their hearts to God. That is to say, His touching man is His saving them. This sort of salvation is done by striking a deal. Only when God grants them 100-fold will man come to submit before God's name and strive to do well for Him and bring Him glory. This is not what God intends for mankind. God has come to work on earth in order to save corrupt mankind. There is no falsehood in this. If there were, He would certainly not have come to do His work in person. In the past, His means of salvation involved showing the utmost love and compassion, such that He gave His all to Satan in exchange for the whole of mankind. The present is nothing like the past. The salvation bestowed upon you today occurs at the time of the last days, during the classification of each according to kind. The means of your salvation is not love or compassion, but chastisement and judgment, in order that man may be more thoroughly saved. Thus, all that you receive is chastisement, judgment, and merciless smiting. But know this: in this heartless smiting, there is not the slightest punishment. Regardless of how harsh my words might be, what befall you are but a few words that might appear utterly heartless to you. And no matter how angry I might be, what rain upon you are still words of teaching, and I do not mean to harm you or put you to death. Is this not all fact? Know that nowadays, whether it be righteous judgment or heartless refinement and chastisement, everything is for the sake of salvation. Regardless of whether today each is classified according to kind or the categories of man are laid bare, the purpose of all of God's words and work is to save those who truly love God. Righteous judgment is brought to purify man, and heartless refinement is done to cleanse them. Harsh words or chastening are both done to purify and are for the sake of salvation. Thus, today's method of salvation is unlike that of the past. Today, you are brought salvation through righteous judgment, and this is a good tool for classifying you each according to kind. Moreover, ruthless chastisement serves as your utmost salvation. And what have you to say in the face of such chastisement and judgment? Have you not always enjoyed salvation from start to finish? You have seen God incarnate and realized His omnipotence and wisdom. In addition, you have experienced repeated smiting and discipline. However, have you not also received supreme grace? Are your blessings not greater than those of anyone else? Your graces are more bounteous even than the glory and riches enjoyed by Solomon. Think about it. If my intention in coming were to condemn and punish you rather than save you, could your days have lasted so long? Could you sinful beings of flesh and blood have survived until today? If my goal were merely to punish you, then why would I have become flesh and embarked upon such a great enterprise? Could punishing you mere mortals not simply be done by uttering a single word? Would I still need to destroy you after purposely condemning you? Do you still not believe these words of mine? Could I save man merely through love and compassion? Or could I only use the crucifixion to save man? Is my righteous disposition not more conducive to making man completely obedient? Is it not more capable of thoroughly saving man?